Okay, it's after 7. I'm going to call our meeting to order. This is the regular meeting of the White Bear Lake Conservation District Board for March 15th, 2022. We have a quorum. We're called to order, and the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And does anybody have any adjustments that they would like to make to the agenda?
Yeah,
Scott?
I'd like to add the Adopt a Drain Challenge under education.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as modified. Second. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the February 15, 2022 meeting minutes. Does anybody have any adjustments that they would like to make to those minutes? Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So that passes. Next item is public comments. Anybody here that would like to take advantage of the 15 minutes of time that we set aside at each meeting for items that are not on the agenda? Okay, then we'll move on. New business. First item under new business are committee assignments, and I'll just rattle off what those committee assignments are. On the Lake Quality Committee, Mike Pronto will be the chair, and Diane Longbill will be a member. On the Lake Education Committee, Scott Costello will be the chair, and Meredith and Susie will be members on that committee. And then on the LUC, Mark Gans will be the chair, and Scott O'Connor will be on that committee, as well as Darren DeYoung and Chris Churchill from the board, and then also Luke Mashad and Scott Bonin from the public will be on that committee. And I think that takes care of everybody. Thank you all for being willing to step up and serve on a committee. I appreciate that. Next, administrative assistant position. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have more discussion about that. We have a public hearing that starts no earlier than 7:05. So what I'd like to do is go to the public hearing, get that out of the way, and then come back and have the administrative assistant discussion, if that's all right with everybody. Alan, are you good with that?
Yep.
Okay. So we have 3 ordinances, modifications to a couple that we talked about last month, and you have in front of you. And generally, these, I'll just call the public hearing to order.
Fine.
Okay, so I did that. And so now we have these 3 ordinances that we've been looking at. Maybe we could just have a little general discussion. Does anybody have any adjustments that they'd like to make to the ordinances?
Yeah, there's the one on the definition of the ordinary high water level, which I assume was taken from the DNR's definition, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I was just the way it's worded kind of makes it sound like we said it, because it doesn't say who sets it in the last sentence. And I guess I would suggest that the OHWL is set by the state of Minnesota or the state of Minnesota Department of
Natural Resources.
Yeah.
Can I offer I think the same thing, and I made one note to this particular item. Can I just offer this up for consideration? So this is item 4 on the ordinance number 2022-01. And item 4 reads, for White Bear Lake, that elevation has been set at 924.89 feet above sea level. And I would like to adjust that to say, for White Bear Lake, that elevation has been set at 924.89 feet above mean sea level. I'd like to insert mean there because that's generally the way people write that, mean sea level. And then I'd like to put by the DNR. So basically it would read, for White Bear Lake, that elevation has been set at 924.89 feet above mean sea level by the DNR. Anybody have any, what do you think about that?
Yeah. You might want to spell out DNR.
Department of Natural Resources, so yeah, we can do that.
Minnesota, yeah.
By the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Okay, so now the way that reads is, this is item 4. For White Bear Lake, that elevation has been set at 924.89 feet above mean sea level by the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. Everybody good with that? Okay, Alan?
Now that you've done that, pardon me, you've kind of called the public hearing, but I appreciate setting it up so it's a little more clear what you're talking about. And I know you don't do these that often. And so now that you've got something to talk about as it relates to the defining of that, normally what you'd do is you'd open the public hearing and you'd take in testimony, then you'd close the public hearing, and then you'd discuss the ordinance.
Very good.
So just mechanically, I don't really mind because you added more clarity to what it is that you're going to talk about. But just so the record's clear, you can formally, as the chair, because you control the meeting, open the hearing, close the hearing, assuming no one gets up and talks at it. And we do that for each one of these manipulations of the code.
Okay, got it. All right, so thank you for that, by the way. Okay, so I'm going to did open the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-01, which is the one we were just talking about. And this is an ordinance amending the district code to define the term ordinary high water level, OHW, on White Bear Lake. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this? I'm going to close the public hearing for that item. Any discussion? And can we just vote on this now?
Yeah, now you can entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to...
So moved.
And that's to approve the ordinance as amended.
Right, ordinance number 2022-01 as amended. Right, so we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. I would like to open the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-02, which is an ordinance amending the district code to define permitted standards for ADUA areas on White Bear Lake. Does anybody in the public, does anybody from the public wish to make any comments on this ordinance change? Okay, I'll close that public hearing. And anybody like to make a motion?
I motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
All this does is define the measurement point at the OHW, right? There's no other change.
Right, and the changes are highlighted and or bolded and italicized.
Yeah, for clarity, we had to add the definition, which I thought was actually in there, but Mike corrected me, and so we've added that as already defined, and now we've added it where it's important to actually have it as a measurement point. So this is really housekeeping to include it in the ordinances. Both of these are, the next one and this one.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. I'll open the public hearing for ordinance number 2022-03. This is an ordinance amending the district code to define permitted standards of structures on White Bear Lake. Is there a motion to approve?
You having a public hearing?
Oh yeah, sorry. Public hearing, sorry. Anybody from the public wish to make any comments on this ordinance? Very good. Close the public hearing. Thank you, Alan. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
There's a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion on this item? And this item, again, just clarifies where the 300 feet for the ADUA is measured from. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes. Thank you all. So that takes care of the public hearing. So we'll move to the back to the regular agenda. And so we're under new business, administrative assistant position. So background, Kim decided to leave the board as our administrative assistant, and so we need to hire a new one. And we went through this process back in 2017. Something like that. And so we have a job description that we sent out to everybody, and we also have a posting that we sent out to everybody for review. And the last time that we did this, the executive committee handled the interviewing, getting applications, interviewing, and then we brought a recommendation to the board. That's our intent again this time, unless I guess somebody feels strongly that they would like to participate. I'm certainly open to that. If somebody felt like they would really like to participate in this, in the interviewing and that kind of thing. Okay, so then it's the executive committee. So what I would like is I would like us to consider the two things that we've prepared, which I cannot put my, here they are. So the posting and then the 3-page, thank you, Mike, anyway, the 3-page description of the job. Does anybody have any input or suggestions for making this, the job description better or the job posting better?
How much of this can be done remote? Those 3 days, or is it always in the office, or how does that work?
Great question. That's a great thing for us to talk about. Historically, and this is my opinion, and others should chime in, but historically the board handled a lot of things hard copy, where people had to come in, get an application, take it home, fill it out, bring the hard copy application back like that. And these days, so much can be done over the internet or digitally, let's say. So personally, I don't think we need someone in the office that much. And I also think that the position would maybe be more attractive to applicants if they didn't have to be in the office that much. And last time I'll say, we had a difficult time hiring somebody, finding somebody that wanted the job. And, that was a different time, and maybe this time will be different. But if there are ways that we can make the job more palatable or more attractive to people, I think we should think about doing that. What we had requested from Kim is that she spend, I think, 2 hours a day, 2 days a week.
I'll start it at 4.
Right. 2 days a week, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it went down to 3.
And eventually to less than that.
Yeah. Well, COVID
Yep.
kind of interfered.
Yep. Does anybody have any, I'll tell you my opinion. I think if we have somebody in there for a couple hours, 2 days a week, that seems like, as long as they're reliable hours where people know if I want to go in and visit, I know somebody will be there from noon to 2, Tuesday and Thursday, or whatever it is. I think that's adequate. What does everybody else think? Okay.
I agree. There is a lot. I know that things are going electronic, but all this stuff still, we have file cabinets. Things still need to be filed. I think it's nice if some of the, like I've even heard, they're from other people that like, hey, I tried to go in and talk to somebody and nobody's there. Or I tried to drop this off and nobody's there. I think if we posted some consistent hours, and they don't have to be a ton, but just so you can do that and do the filing and things like that, and be there if people want to drop something off or things like that, I think it's important to have at least some sort of presence.
Right.
That's my 2 cents.
And one other thing is that, and I don't know that I appreciate this entirely, but I think that the Tuesday of our board meeting is extra. It takes extra time in the office for the administrative assistant. So, I think if we would set it at 2 days a week, 2 hours each day, plus additional on meeting day as necessary, it seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Maybe the meeting day, they don't work Thursday. They just come in Tuesday for extra hours.
Yeah. Although I think that if we have posted hours, it'd be good for them to be there for those times. Okay. So that, I think, is one thing, because that's in here. So we will adjust that. Any other suggestions, Mike?
How are we going to put the word out?
Good question. Some ideas. One, we can post it on our website. 2, we could place an ad in the White Bear Press. To be honest, I don't know how people look for jobs these days. I mean, I think they go,
Yeah.
I don't know where they go.
Indeed.
And didn't we do something with that the last time? Didn't we put it on the computer somewhere? Sorry.
I think we used Indeed last time.
Yeah. I think
Or LinkedIn, I think people use.
LinkedIn is what most people use.
Yeah, LinkedIn is, even Craigslist has listings.
The cities has a jobs marketplace too.
Okay. Okay, so let me just,
There's a nonprofit job board too, I believe.
Yep. At the Council of Nonprofits.
okay. And is that it? Council of the Nonprofits? Alan?
Yes, Minnesota Council of Nonprofits.
We don't have a sign out front now hiring.
One thing I will say is that we probably all know people that, personally, I think it's a great job for somebody who's retired. But we probably all know people who would be responsible and could do some good work for the board. And I think letting them know about the position goes a long way. We'll post on our website, we'll have the posting and the job description.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can ask them to do that. Unless there's changes, I could just, here it is from your email.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a point of curiosity. I'm looking at the 3-page description and the skills needed, and one is the ability to type 60 words per minute. And I don't know who measures that, or if that's if that's going to turn some people away. I can't type 60 words a minute. Is it timely that someone needs to be able to do that?
Right. So I think there are opportunities to improve this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was posted originally
curiosity.
it was a very general clerical staff position posting, so it was not heavily edited, as I recall.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just curious where that came from.
It's old. Yeah. Okay. So how do we want to go about updating the job description? Do people want to review it and you could send comments to me, I could go through and make another go of it. We kind of have to keep things moving in my mind, just because at the moment Diane and Mike and Scott are picking up a lot of extra duty. So it'd be nice to get the position filled.
Yep.
One option would be for anybody that wants to provide input on the job description that they could send me those comments. I could make an adjustment. We could run it through the executive committee. If the executive, that way it's not just me doing it. If the executive committee says okay, then we could post it. Would folks be okay with that approach?
Yeah, I think everybody would have to do it this week.
True. Yeah, I think so. And then we can call an executive committee meeting for next week and get it finalized and get it posted.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you have 3 or 4 days to let me know if you have any input. Another thing that isn't, or another thing that we talked about at the last executive committee meeting regarding this position is the idea of entering into an agreement with Kim on an hourly basis to help us through a couple of months. And, you know, that would be with the treasurer's report and some things like that where it's real helpful. We haven't approached Kim with that idea yet, but at the moment, Alan has drafted a copy of an agreement, and it basically says $30 an hour for as needed. You know, so when we ask you to do something, you'll do it, bill us $30 an hour. That's generally what it says, plus a bunch of legalese that goes along with it. Does anybody have any thoughts on that whole idea of continuing on basically a time hourly basis with Kim, if she's open to doing that?
If she's willing, I think that would be just fine. She's doing some stuff for free now.
Yep.
You know, a little bit, because I can tell she's in the email account and dealing with a few things.
Sure.
So I think it would be fair to pay her for that.
Oh, did she invoice us for that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so she's been keeping time of that.
Yeah,
Right. Although she's resigned.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think we need to clean that up on our end.
But that would do that.
True. So this agreement would do that. So if the board is generally agreeable, I guess what I would say is I'd like to make a motion that we let Alan brush up the individual or independent consultant services agreement and with anything that needs to be cleaned up, because this was just a draft, and then we could put that in front of Kim. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to clean up the agreement and put it in front of Kim. Any discussion?
Is it worth putting up to so many hours or a minimum for her time? I mean,
yes, I think we could do that. I think generally it's written that it's as you know, on demand. So when we ask her, but we could put in a maximum number of hours.
or minimum, just for her time too.
Yeah.
That gets pretty dicey. So the way it's written right now, it's just as needed. And I think given her longevity here and the probability that you're going to get someone green, having someone who can be called upon, you're going to have to trust that she's going to be honest about, the time that she's spending. But I think it's nice that she's willing to be a resource. So you guys will be approving whatever gets billed, if you will, every month anyway. So if it becomes excessive, then you guys can put the clamps on it. But I think it'd be very hard to maximum that, just because we don't know what we're going to ask her to do.
Sure.
I think it is reasonable, though, that when we ask her to do something, that we get an estimate of the hours. So we don't ask for a task and then it comes back with something that we don't feel is appropriate or whatnot. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you for that. And those are the items I wanted to talk about in terms of the administrative assistant position. Am I missing anything? Okay.
Yeah, one thing I was going to suggest is we could really use the spring cleaning down in that office. Just because they're going to have to spend some time there, and it's not a very attractive place. I don't think we've done a thorough cleaning there in like 30 years. And there's brochures from 20 years ago, and there's stuff on the surfaces, and I think we would need to get a couple of those little roller dumpsters that got in the building, right, and get in there maybe on some weekend.
I think that's a good idea. And is there anybody that'd be willing to organize that?
I'll help, but
I'd
if
be
I go
willing,
in there
yeah.
and start throwing everything away, I don't even know what it is. Right?
Yeah, I'd be willing to help.
Scott or guidance, I'll help out for sure. I think it's
More the idea of setting the date, setting the time, making sure that we can get in the building, making sure we have something to dump the excess into, that kind of thing. And that's because I think I'll certainly, if I'm in town, I'll certainly come in and help out. And I think most board members would probably feel that way. I think we just need somebody to set the date and the time and have a general idea of approach so we don't all just show up and look at each other.
I think we should have beer and pizza then.
Is that allowed? City Hall? No.
Pizza in City Hall?
Beer and pizza? No. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, seeing no one stepping up, I will.
I can do it. That's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Chris. All right. So just
So just
set a date and a time and let everybody know.
okay.
Make sure City Hall's open.
Yep. Okay. Anything else on the administrative assistant position? Okay, so let's move on. We're through the public hearing. On to unfinished business, which is providing comments on the wake boat study. Thank you, Meredith, for sending, and maybe I was the only one she sent it to. Meredith sent a summary of some comments that we received on our social media and also general questions about the wake boat study. I would like to somehow put some of those items into a letter form to the U of M or whoever specifically did that study. And so I guess what I'm thinking is the executive committee could take that and draft a letter based on Meredith's input and bring that to our next meeting for review, discussion, and hopefully approval. Okay, so that's how we'll handle that. Thank you, Meredith, for that, by the way.
Otherwise, what we're doing is I did make a change to the website. I got rid of the industry propaganda that we had up there, and I just put a fairly simple statement that quotes our ordinances. Basically, is that you cannot interfere with anybody with your wake. And by the way, this study shows that the wake energy and power and wave height can extend as much as 2 times as far as a regular speedboat. So please be careful, because it's just strictly an educational approach. I know the lakes and whatever that organization is.
Right.
Yeah, they're working with our legislators to actually do make more training available on responsible boating. So they're taking an education approach.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. And thanks for adjusting the website that way. Okay, so that takes care of that one. We're on to reports and action items. The first one is the executive committee. The committee met, and the big items that we talked about were the administrative assistant position and how best to move forward with that, how we wanted to handle the hiring, We have some PTO that Kim has accumulated or accrued for 2022 that we need to pay out, so we talked about that. And that's really about it for the executive committee meeting summary. Any questions about that? Okay. Next, Lake Quality Committee. Mike?
Nothing this month.
Kate? Thank you. Lake Utilization Committee. Mark?
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Tonight we did the commercial bay. I want to apologize for last month for not being able to be here, but we got to it this month. The first one I'd like to go over is the VFW. We had no change from last year, was the one in the packet. Apparently a new one had been sent in requesting a longer dock and more boats. However, their DNR permit has not been changed. So the new sort of philosophy we've been trying to get to is our ordinances for distance out at 300 feet and the boat number not to exceed anything the DNR has requested. So they've got another year to get a new DNR permit, and we can look at that next year. But until that, the one that was turned in and the one that was approved unanimously by the LUC. So I move to approve the VFW application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the VFW application. And just to summarize, Mark, is that how many slips is that?
It's 42.
42. Okay.
VFW?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at feet. Never mind. Total of 28.
Okay.
2 transient?
2 transient.
26 rental.
26 at slips. Rentals.
So 26 in overnight.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion?
What dock length is that?
They are, they're below 300 right now. Quite 247, I think. Let me.
From our new rule or from our rule from last year?
Yeah, they probably don't have ordinary high water because we just approved that.
Yep.
But at 247, they're not anywhere near 300. So
We should have them at 214.1 here.
I think that's from the header. But what they're asking for here is total dock is 247.
All right.
There's a ramp there that's like 30 feet.
Okay. So they shouldn't have any issues staying within 300 feet.
Not at all.
So they shouldn't have any issues staying within 300 feet, even if they didn't measure from the OHW is the way it looks. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So that passes.
The next one we'll go to is Docks of White Bear. They turned in an application asking for 260 boats and up to
345.
345 feet of dock length. As I said before, we're trying to kind of rein everything back in now that we're at our, So what the DNR has in their permits, let me stop and start again. The DNR has in their permits is there's a cut point at 922 feet median sea level that says if we go down to that depth or that water level, that they can then extend the docks, which is what we did in 2008 when things dropped down. We gave them extensions so they could get their boats out there. We're not there yet. I think we're about 16 inches above that. So, and it's to be measured in April. So I don't think we're going to lose 16 inches by April. So until then, we're going to try to keep in the 300. Having said that, the LUC decided that we would approve this application. However, maximum boats of 240 and only 300 feet above, out from ordinary high water. And I so move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the docks of White Bear at within 300 feet from ordinary high water and a maximum of 240 slips. Any discussion?
A question. Did you approve the 5 docks with boats? Did you also approve that fishing pier that they wanted on the edge of the property? Or is it 5 or 6 docks that you approved?
Good question.
You know, and they mentioned in their application that the DNR permit included that fishing pier.
Yeah, but it seems to me like that might obstruct tallies. You know, we have an ordinance not to obstruct reasonable access to another dock. I don't know if it does, but I just wanted to know if that was part of it or not.
It's this guy.
That he added late
I
last
see.
year.
It's this one. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me, can I make an amendment? My amendment would be then to not have the fishing dock. Exclude the fishing dock.
Scott, are you okay with that?
Friendly amendment is agreeable? Yep.
Right next to Tallies.
Okay, so the motion has been modified to also not allow the fishing dock because of potential obstruction with tallies. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, that passes.
Thank you,
as
Meredith.
amended.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to be sure so that we could look at that with tallies too. I don't want anyone to be gypped.
The next one we will be looking at is the City of White Bear Lake. Alan, should I go through these 3 individually or, okay?
Yeah, just to make it clear, I think the recommendation's obvious, but
Yep. So there's 3 different areas that they're licensing for, or they're asking for a license for, or applying for.
permit.
Thank you. The first one would be the Boatworks docks, which they have brought back to 300 feet. So they've got their 160 boats. They're 300 feet from ordinary high water at the ends. So we approved unanimously, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve, and this is just for the commercial dock?
Just for
or the commercial bay, to approve the commercial bay application from City of White Bear Lake. Any discussion?
Sounds good.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you.
Next one is Mataska. That is a no change from last year. And we're looking at 29 boats at slides, 28 at mooring, 32 at off-lake storage. And that's a total of 89. Again, no change from last year. The LUC approved unanimously, and I so move.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Matoska Park application from the City of White Bear Lake. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes.
And then the final one is Veterans Park Memorial Pier. No change from last year, no boats. The LUC approved unanimously, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Veterans Park Memorial Pier. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes.
The final was Tallies. There were some questions as to, they gave us 2 layouts. There's some differentiations in how many boats, things like that. So we decided we need to table that and get some more information back from the owner.
And one thing I'll add to that, Mark, is that the owners of Tallies requested that it be moved to the April agenda.
That too.
Okay, any questions for Mark? Diane?
Mark, will you talk to Docs of White Bear about the adjustments that was voted on tonight so that they know?
They had a representative here,
Oh, they did, so they know what we were going to approve. Great, thank you.
but I'll call. So I spoke with the owner Monday. He's in Costa Rica. So he'll be in contact with me when he gets back, I'm sure.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
But just as a point of clarification, do we actually send a permit?
Yes.
What do we send, and do we identify length, number of slips, or just your...
We identify any changes we made to it. So, in other words, if you had insurance and it lapsed in, April, and we didn't have the current insurance yet, we would say this is approved. However, we need to get your insurance, your updated insurance when it comes in, or something like this where we have approved it, but you can only have 300 feet of dock and 240 boats, and you can't put it in your fishing dock.
Sure. So who's going, without an administrative assistant here, who will send that information out?
I don't know where the forms are. It's a certificate you get, because I'm on an association with a licensed dock, so we get a certificate of approval every year, but I don't know where that's at or how it's generated.
Okay. Diane?
There's a file on the side desk in the office, and the key is in the cubby hole for the office.
Yeah.
So you could take a look at that, or
All right.
but it'll get put back.
I have the key right here.
Yeah, but you'll put it back
Okay.
if he wants to get in at a different time.
I will look, but there must
You
be
wanna-
some kind of computer,
Yeah, something on
something
the
that's
computer.
already done that you can
It's
just
not
fill
one of the ones
a
that's on our
boilerplate.
website. What's it called?
I'll look at our files. It's nothing that we have posted because it's our approval. It's basically it looks like a certificate, and it.
Oh,
If you want to
okay.
go down after the meeting, I can show
Okay,
you.
that'd be great.
Okay.
I can do that for the 3 docs that have been approved for this
Okay,
month.
Thanks, Mark. Any other questions for Mark? Okay, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
On to the next item, which is the Lake Education Committee. Scott?
Yeah. I already mentioned that we've updated the website for the wake. That's taken care of. What we'd like to introduce is our 2022 Adopt a Drain Challenge, which I've given you all a copy of. And basically, I have to thank Meredith for her original idea. And I got some data from the Adopt a Drain program, which is run out of Hamline University, which is now statewide. And they have a GIS system, so they could actually give me data on, by community, how many total drains there were, how many have been adopted, and how many households have volunteered to adopt drains. And our interest here is that if we can keep the drains clear and clean, we can improve the water quality of the stormwater drainage that's flowing into the lake and into the other watersheds. There's actually 4 watersheds in the city of White Bear Lake, at least, and only a very small portion of the land around the lake actually drains into the lake. But it really doesn't matter because we want to encourage improvement of all the drains. And when I plotted this stuff out, I put this into Excel. That's what you see here, the data I got from the program. And really, we're less than 10% of the drains in our 5 communities that have been adopted. And we can really do a whole lot better than that. So what we're suggesting here is that we have a challenge. We want to challenge the 5 communities to at least double the number of drains that are adopted. And we would do that, we'd ask them to do that by the end of October, so that when we meet for the last time this year in November, we can talk about how we've done. We could do more with this. I mean, we could put a booth up at, Market Fest. If we have the energy and the inclination to do that. The program does have some giveaways, like T-shirts and stuff, if we wanted to do more. But to just launch this, what I would do is I would send it to the cities and say, basically, you're challenged to do this, and I'd like to see more people, everybody on the board get in there and adopt a drain by their house, and I think it's a really good idea. We put this flyer together, and I think it's ready to go. I would like to move that we go forward with the 2022 Adopt a Drain Challenge as described in this brochure.
Can I add something, Scott?
A minute. I'll second the motion, and now let's have some discussion.
Okay. I'll just add that the Adopt a Drain website is really easy to use. It's similar to a Google Maps. You can zoom in. You can see your drains in your neighborhood. You click on it. You click Adopt, and you write your name in there. And so it's very easy for people to sign up. They're happy to share data with Scott. We'll share it all over our social media to promote. Probably reach out to other conservation districts, Washington County, Ramsey County, Rice Creek, to see if they'll help us promote a little bit too. There's a lot of compelling videos online about what this can achieve. So I'd be happy to repost some of those.
Pumping that up.
Yeah.
Once we approve
But it'll be fairly passive on our end, except for promoting it and then getting the statistics.
Any additional discussion? I'll just say I think it's a great idea. Okay, and so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So that passes. Thank you both.
And I don't know, we have any more social media updates?
Sure.
Meredith?
Just one thing, if you don't mind, I'll report back in on the feedback we got on the post I had about erosion from boat waves. We had over 1,000 views on our social media, and then 2 relevant comments, which I can send out to everyone. Someone said that they had a picture of some past shoreline erosion, but they weren't sure if it was caused by boat waves, and they said they'd send photos. The photos weren't sent to me, but perhaps they're in an email address for the Conservation District. And then another person commented on the study and said there were 2 people in the non-wake boats and 4 people in the wake boats, and they thought that seemed a little tilted. They wanted to know if there's a control group, and they said they were not aware of any erosion that they'd seen on the lake. But they did like the education suggestion in the study, and perhaps increasing operating distance from shoreline made sense to them. So those were our 2 comments, with really a lot of views and really a lot of engagement in the posts. A lot of people clicked through the posts and clicked into the study. So people were interested in it.
That's good. Okay, and the lake cleanup.
Oh, yes. That was last Saturday.
True.
I was down at Bel Air Beach, took some pictures. I saw an email from somebody who was at Ramsey Beach, and they had pretty good results. We would normally, we're going to wait for the Scoutmaster to issue a final report. I did get a call from him Saturday morning saying he was sick with the flu or COVID or something. And so I think we had to wait for him to get back on board and put all the stuff together. I sent him some pictures. It looked like there was a lot of participation at Bel Air. The way they've been doing it the last couple of years, they've been assigning parts of the lake to different groups, which actually I think improves the coverage.
Right.
Because, on the North Bay, we weren't getting anything before because everybody gathered at Bel Air. So now, really, the whole lake's being covered, though it's a little less, community involvement because we used to all launch from Bel Air Beach, and then they would gather there for a meal provided by the VFW. And that's kind of been shot down the last couple of years because of the pandemic. So from all indications, it was quite successful.
That's good. So I have a picture of some stuff I picked up at the end of Clark. Should I send that to somebody or?
Yeah. If you have Jim Schuster's email, you could send it, or you could send it to me, and I'll forward it to Jim.
Perfect. I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
I just have a comment. And so I got a call about 3 weeks ago from the Matamidi Public Works supervisor, and he's a sportsman. He's an angler, winter and summer, and he gets calls from the people around Matamidi when they see things. And he said he's noticed in the past 2 years a lot more garbage left out on the lake. I don't know if that's because of new pandemic fishermen or whatever it is. But last month they pulled the washer and dryer off the lake. Somebody just went out there and dumped them. So what Matamidi has done now is we actually have, as you come off the beach, there's a small dumpster there. Because he said people were just throwing their stuff on the beach and into the parking lots and things like that. So, I mean, maybe that's something some of the other cities could adopt too, where they have their public accesses, is to keep a dumpster there.
Well, there is a dumpster at Bel Air.
Okay.
And it's been there for years.
Good.
So the township's doing that.
Good. So I just wanted to throw that out there that he's been sitting his city works people out on the lake to pick up stuff as they've been getting called, and he said he's never seen it this bad, so that's why he threw the dumpster.
Well,
on
it
the
sounds like
beach.
it's not an ice fisherman who brought their washer.
No, I'm not blaming the anglers for that. He didn't say that was that, but he's noticing also like cases of beer and things like that left out on the lake.
When we were out there last weekend, though, cleaning up, I mean, Matamidi was pretty clean. I was pretty impressed. Most of it was over by the peninsula. We were finding stuff, but it was like where the houses usually are in those areas. They picked up. There was a few 2x4s and 2x6s, but shipped those out. But it was pretty clean. I was impressed.
Good.
Compared to like I've seen it out there. What you're talking about, it's exactly right.
All right.
Okay, so thanks for all that. Any questions for Scott or Meredith? Okay, we'll move on. Treasurer's report. Diane.
Mark, did you get a treasurer's
I do.
report?
I have one.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not Diane.
That's okay.
Mike. Treasurer's report.
You want me to do it? Okay.
Go ahead.
Treasury report. I'd like to make a motion to accept checks number 4747 through check number 4751.
Second.
We have motion and a second to accept checks 4747 through 4751. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. Okay, thank you, Mike and Diane. Next item on the agenda is the board council report. Alan, anything to report?
Nothing terribly earth-shattering. If I didn't mention, last month we resolved a criminal case that's now a little stale. Can't remember if I mentioned that at the last meeting or not, but things are finally coming through on COVID. So a lot of stuff just got kind of put on hold. And so we'll have another case that I believe emanates from last summer next month. So that's kind of an unusual thing for most of you who are new here. So we don't get a whole lot of criminal activity that results in actual tickets or complaints, because a lot of the stuff is just advisory. So the sheriff tries to just make better users of the lake. But in some cases, you've got BWIs and things that are truly criminal that they really have to enforce, and ended up going through the court system. So beyond that, of course, we did what we did with the ordinances and with Kim. So I would stand for questions, and just wondering about the unique nature of cleaning fish in Matamidi.
Cleaning fish.
Washers and dryers.
That's one way to do it.
Okay. Any questions for Alan?
Ain't the way Hank did it, as they say.
Any questions for Alan? Okay, thank you, Alan.
And I'll update the agreement. The only thing that I'll need potentially from someone who knows is Kim's home address, because right now I would just do care of us. So I don't know or pretend to know where Kim is. So we'll have to populate the agreement with an address for her for notices and things. And I assume we use our address here at City Hall. Yeah?
For
us.
yeah.
Okay. So if someone can email me that, I'll finish the agreement with Kim.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Item 10, announcements. I don't have any announcements. So we're on to item 11, adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir.